So this is my fourth podcast, and we have Manaz over here. She is a modest fashion enthusiast who also creates content, and more importantly, she started her own company called Shop Refined, which is all about sustainable fashion. What's up,
Hi guys,
Manaz? How are you?
what's up with you? I'm good. How are you?
You know how I am. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's my common answer. So let's get right into the topic.
So, what are we doing?
Actually, this is
Hmm.
something I want to know too. I probably asked you before and I probably forgot, but I'm asking you again, anyways.
Hmm.
When did you start this fashion modeling or with the everything you've done with Instagram? When did it start?
With Instagram. So, Instagram I started around second year of college.
Mm-hmm.
So, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, 2018, I think August was it. And now we finished 2 years, I think.
Yep.
I'm done with 2 years. And yeah, so I started it in that. And also, I'm not like a model. I just make content for myself and maybe brands and PR. I don't do modeling.
Yeah, but then I can
Super
consider you
clear.
as a model, right?
No. Model is like they
Okay,
do
I won't
product
force you.
shoots and everything.
No, for me, Manas girl is like a model for whatever, you put out.
Cool.
Okay, so you started this in second year, and what was your initial concept? Like, what did you have in your mind when you started?
So the concept of this was that so basically Hyderabad has so many hijabi girls, okay? And I saw that for us there was no one place where you could get inspiration from. And I knew that I have like good fashion skill, like styling skills. So I was like, you know what, let's just start. And also I participated in that thing. Do you remember the fashion ramp walk in college?
Triti.
Yeah, Triti, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
in our fest. And
Yes.
that was when I was like, okay, yeah, I think I should get into this. And even Dheeraj was blogging at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Altaf and Namita and everybody was like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, fine, cool, I'll do this. And I started it then. And it was mainly for girls around my age who wanted inspiration. And like Hyderabad has such amazing girls with amazing fashion styles, but fashion skills, but they're not represented enough, I feel, especially the hijabi modest fashion girls, I feel. And like I was like, okay, yeah, you know what, let's give this like a platform, like girls will get a little inspiration and like some representation, so let's do that. That was the concept behind it.
I think that was really a smart one because I guess you were one of the first person from my feed at least who was doing modeling with, or sorry, not modeling, I would not say that, putting out your fashion outfits. I
Hmm.
don't know much about fashion, so I do not know many words, so I'll be using the limited amount of words I know.
Cool, cool. Hmm.
Anyways, so these outfits with the hijab and stuff, they were pretty cool. And even in
Yeah.
first and second year, the gangster looks, shades and stuff.
Yeah, dude. Everybody, I remember like when I think came to IBS, we were about three hijabis in college, which was such an underrepresentation. I was like, what the hell? Why are there so less of us?
You dominated it, right?
Yeah, we did.
Now a lot more people are wearing it.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, hopefully.
No, no, thanks to me. Come on. It's like a religious thing, no? It's
But
not just.
anyways, like in 2 years growing till 5K followers, a lot of
Hmm.
people, when they start off, they struggle with that thing. Like, when you don't get enough followers and if you don't get enough engagement or response, they get off the grind, they give up or they stop. Were
So
you
the
in that
thing with me
position?
was, yeah, so the thing with me was, I am super inconsistent with the content that I make.
Mm-hmm.
Super inconsistent. Like I think I have 6K now and I still haven't crossed 100 posts.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's like super low content that I create, less content that I create. But I need quality in it. That's why I think I don't post anything and everything that I come across. So
Uh-huh.
like in the first year I did it, I wasn't serious about it at all.
Okay.
I was like, you know what, this is just like a time pass thing that I'm doing because I dress up well anyways. So let's just take pictures and post it. And then eventually, when brands approach you and they're like, okay, we want this content by this time, then you become more serious about it. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, okay, I have deadlines to meet, and then I'm earning through this eventually. And yeah, that's when I got serious about it. I think in third year when I came back from Paris is when I started getting super serious about it. I think I had like 1,500 followers then. And then, yeah, 1,500 followers last year. And then in January, we reached 3K and now we have 6K.
Oh, that's double.
Yeah.
That's a rapid growth. It's nice. It's nice seeing that growth happen. Sorry?
It's not actually, it's very low
But at least for
for
the
the
efforts you
influencer
put
community.
in,
Mm.
even with being lazy and stuff, you pulled off. I,
Yeah, that is that.
I understood that you got serious when brands were approaching and asking you to make content. So when was it? Like, give me a time frame of when brands started approaching you with payment. They paid you for doing something.
Um, So yeah, I think it was in when we were in third year. Last year, August, September time, I got this offer from
Mm-hmm.
a brand which wanted to send me like 40 to 60% of their collection of hijabs. And they were like, okay, these are like pieces that we have. We give you 2 weeks of time and you're supposed to produce amazing content. And
Uh-huh.
they required 6 different shoots because there were
Okay.
6 products, I think, and they required 6 different shoots. And they were willing to pay me. And I think that time my payment was so low. And I did it, and I was like, okay, these are like amazing pictures. I should get serious about this. And that is when I was like, okay, yeah, this is like a good thing to do. Karke.
How much did they pay you?
Oh, they GPay me. What
That's
do you
a
mean? How they pay me?
how much, not how. Your
How much?
first
At that time,
ever
it wasn't even 2K.
first
It
ever payment.
wasn't even 2K. Yeah, it wasn't even 2K at that time.
Now how much are you charging people for work?
I'm not supposed to disclose that.
But I
But
know
like this,
but I
it
know
has to
that
be a
I know that when I can disclose it, right? Can
no,
I?
no, you.
Okay. Okay, so I've seen that personally, like, before even going into sustainable fashion, you used to send me messages at certain times, like, I sent you something related with Nutella, I guess, and then you were like, Suraj, stop eating
Yeah,
that.
something I don't know.
Every time I ate, your message was running over saying, "Ki, Suraj, somebody is getting killed or something."
Yeah, dude, the thing is, so I regard myself as a huge feminist. Okay. Super like important it is to me.
Uh-huh.
So but once like this feminism thing, like I think I've identified as a feminist since like what 16, 15.
Okay.
And like after that, the next step is always environmentally consciousness. And that I learned in our second year of a summer internship. I interned with a sustainable brand. And I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea about sustainability before that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to this place and they're like everything they do, uh, they would be so immaculate about it. They would be like, okay, this would produce so much carbon, so we can't do this. This would do so much this, so we can't do this. And it was so cool just seeing them so dedicated. And then obviously you do your own research. And then I went for a course to Paris, and that was also heavily centered around sustainability. I didn't expect it to be, but when I went there, it was. And suddenly, that time frame, so much sustainability was like concentrated on what I was
It was a
learning
thing.
around me. Yeah, it was a thing. And then I was like, okay, yeah, this actually makes sense. I should apply this in life. So for me, yeah, feminism was such an umbrella term that had so many things under it. And eco-consciousness was one of it. I was like, if I'm not doing this part of it, then I can't call myself a true feminist. So I was like, okay, I need to change my life to fit into this thing. And like, obviously, till now, I'm like not super sustainable. I still produce a lot of waste and everything. And also, my shopping needs are like, they're mainly fast fashion because that's what we mainly get here. And sustainable brands are either overly expensive or not accessible. So that's how I started it. And even now, like with everything else, like, you know, the metal straws and all the, you only use degradable paper packaging products, or you use only glass products. That all I introduced into my lifestyle. But the whole still giving up fast fashion is a struggle because you don't find trendy stuff anywhere except fast fashion, especially in a place like Hyderabad. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got into sustainability.
So tell me like 2 or 3 food items which you loved but you stopped because they were, screwing up sustainability or something like that.
Nutella. Dude, Nutella. I swear, Ferrero Rocher. These companies, like, once I read their like reports and like what they do in Indonesia to get the palm oil and everything, I was horrified. And I was like, okay, not doing this. And then we don't buy jade jewelry anymore. And then there was I reduced my meat consumption a lot. Like we used to have meat every day at home, and we were like, okay, no, let's reduce it a little by little, and we now only do it like twice a week or
That's
so.
awesome. People,
Yeah.
whoever loved, Ferrero Rocher or Nutella, I'm sure my sister might watch this. And she's gonna, have that thought thinking, fuck my life. She loves it the most.
Yeah, dude, and I love Nutella so much. There was a phase where I was like, okay, anyways, it's happening in the world. Should I just do it? Should I also just eat it? And I was like,
No, Manas, we've gotta stand out.
yeah.
But I'm gonna eat Nutella after 15 days. That's when my,
Because of the 75-day challenge.
yes, it's going to end. I'm gonna dip biscuits in it and eat and keep sending you videos.
Done. We get like brand which tastes just like Nutella. It's like a homemade brand or something. I don't remember the name. It tastes just like Nutella. If I find it on my Instagram again, I'll send it to you. Shift.
Send it to me. Anyways, I don't eat it much, but whenever I do, I hog on it. So let me know, I'll shift.
Okay.
So now
So,
I have one more question. How do you intend to grow your Instagram account, like Manas Gul as a brand? How do you intend to grow?
okay. So currently, in terms of content, I'm loving doing videos, styling videos. So I'll probably do more of those. I love them too much, and I enjoy making them a lot. So, and also the most requests I get on my page are to make more styling videos. So that is one thing that I think will grow my page. Secondly, Mehnaz Gul as herself was never supposed to be a brand. The whole thing why I started even the fashion enthusiast thing on Instagram was that I eventually wanted like my own clothing line or something where I could, cater to modest fashion enthusiasts or like girls who like modest fashion. And like that was supposed to be the case, but after college, like as soon as college ended, I was supposed to do that. But then COVID happened, and I was like, okay, I need alternatives to whatever I was thinking because that's not gonna happen, and we genuinely don't need more clothing brands because there's so many already. So I was like, the other alternative, the best one would be a thrift store. And like thrifting as a thing was in my head since ages. I think since like a year or two, I was like, Hyderabad needs to have a chain of thrift stores because that's the most sustainable thing that people can do and not affect the environment because the product already exists. You're not producing any more carbon. The only carbon you produce in like is like cleaning it or like shipping it to the person,
Mm-hmm.
which is still lesser than producing a completely new garment. That's why shop refine became a thing. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that's how Shop Refine initiated. That's how it got started.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I had the idea. Huh.
no,
Sorry.
go on, go on.
This, I think it wasn't entirely my idea. It was like this one of my friend, and she was randomly sending me like my post itself, and she was like, "Whenever you're done with using this dress, just tell me, and I'll buy it from you, or I'll take it from you." And I was like, "Actually, yeah, this dress I haven't worn in over a year, and it's just in my closet. What am I even doing with it?" And then a lot of my followers started texting me that, "Would you be open to selling your clothes?" And I was like, you know what, there is demand, there is need, let's just do it. So yeah.
Yes, meeting the supply and demand. That's awesome.
Yes. Somewhere we need to apply, no, BBA?
Ikfai, shout out to Ikfai.
I don't like it. Fine.
Still though, that's where you got your
Oh yeah.
info from. So,
Yeah.
so if you could now tell me what is the aim, aim of Shop Refine, what would that be?
So the aim of Shop Refine is basically to make sustainability and thrifted fashion more accessible. Okay, and like thrifting itself is a retail concept according to me, because there's nothing like, okay, you can see something on the website and just go to the store and you'll find it. You have to dedicate time, and there will be literal treasures when you go out, get onto thrifting,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is one thing that we want to make it more accessible, and we want to make shopping entirely more fun. And
Mm-hmm.
also, the whole, according to me, what I want with Refine is, I have big plans for it. One of it is that I want Refine to be in every Indian city,
Mm-hmm.
and like where people can just, drop their clothes off, or drop their, any accessories, whatever, off. Like, we have platforms like OLX that are India based, but they've become so like furniture or car, like they mainly do cars now.
Yes,
And
yeah,
like, why don't we have something for just fashion? Because there's so many people who would benefit from this.
very
So
true.
yeah, that is what I want to find, for it to grow into like a household name. Right? Like, if it's like a thing of pride, maybe, that okay, yeah, I sell on Refine. I care about this. I care about the environment. Yeah. So yeah, that thing.
I
So we want to
think
build a community.
I think that building a community of people where they can drop off their clothes at some part of the city which will be recycled and used again, that thing, I think that is something which will draw people in because I don't know, but on
Yeah.
Instagram and everywhere, people always speak about being environment friendly. I want to do this,
Yeah.
I want to do that. So now that they're having
Yeah.
an option, let's just see how are they going to really
Yeah. Let's
act
see
upon it.
how. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Because I shouldn't say this, because this does not apply to everybody, but there's a lot of empty words kind of thing that happens with sustainability. It's just like a keyword now. Everybody just throws it around anywhere. I'm like, no, if you act on your words, like act on what you want to do and how you want to help the environment. Like, I'm not saying just buy from Refine. I'm not saying that, obviously, but like, do your part.
But still do buy
That's
from Refine and do your part too.
yeah,
Refine is not the only thrift store. So
yeah.
if I'm sure Refine is not the only thrift store in India. So, and I'm sure you know the other thrift store as well. What is one common thing which they all lack? Like, what are they lacking on?
Which they all lack.
Yes.
I think it would be like, a lot of these thrift stores have managed to build a community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I think we need one thing that would make them go viral. Like, it would be start. I know it won't happen overnight, because you have to really educate people on thrifting, but then people have this thing that they're scared to buy secondhand. They're skeptical to buy secondhand because, like, what if it's not clean enough? What if it's, it comes torn, it comes completely torn? What will we do then? And most of these stores have a no return policy because even they can't afford, because they're also very small. They're not like a big organization or anything that they can handle everything. So yeah, just people getting more aware about them is what is lacking in India, I feel. People have to accept this concept more.
So in the starting, you said that people usually have this fear in their mind that how will the clothes be? Will they be neat or will they be in good shape or quality? How would you address that particular question?
Usually it's the pictures we put out, right, on either the website or the Instagram handle. Okay, that is pretty much accurate. Whatever a thrift store puts out, like, they're not like Shein that they can have one quality of product made and they will sell a completely different quality. No, they will have one piece of one thing, and if it looks proper in the picture, then 100% it is a good quality product and it's not damaged from anywhere. And usually all thrift that I know of, they're super ethical and they don't sell any damaged goods. If they do, they declare that where the damage is and how the damage is. So I feel like it's the trust that, yeah, they have to grow that trust, dude. And you grow trust by buying, I feel.
You have to take an initial step. That's when you know if it's the real thing or not.
Yeah, you have to take that initial risk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My actual question was, like, what is Shopify doing to ensure that the clothes which are being sent over are clean and good? Like, what is Shopify doing? Since this is the time of COVID and everyone is afraid of contact in the first place.
Right. So what we do is once the influencer or whoever we are taking the products from, we shoot them first, we clean them and we shoot them first. And then once we get an order, we directly send it for dry cleaning. Once it's back from dry cleaning, nobody takes it out of its packaging because the packaging is pretty transparent, so you can see what's inside. So you don't have to touch the product directly. Okay? And then you just directly put in the refined envelope that we send. And then, yeah. So nobody touches it once it's clean. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't know how to say it. Yeah.
Once the entire dye cleaning process is done, nobody touches it anymore. It's the person, whoever receives the product will be the first person actually touching the product.
The first person, yeah, exactly.
Got it.
And the dry cleaning facility we use is also pretty ethical. Like, they pay living wages and stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
They're also the sustainable dry cleaners. Yeah.
Responsible people all around. So I even saw, for Shop Refined, we give cards, thank you cards, and that's being made out of seed cards.
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
Yeah. So when I get PR packages, they're usually in a plastic cover, inside which there's another transparent plastic cover, and then inside which there's the product. Okay. And the paper is usually a normal, like, it's a normal paper, it's a normal card paper. But the thing is, a person like me who, like, so Jasmine is super close to my heart, right? So I keep all of those papers. But then for a normal customer, for example, if H&M sent me a card, I would throw it away. And I know that for sure. So, because I would shop from there so often that I don't need to save these cards.
Got it.
But then, so with Refined, we wanted to tackle that. We wanted our customer to know that, yes, we value you and we thank you so much for buying from us and for taking the initiative to buy a thrifted piece. But we also didn't want that waste to be generated. So none of our packaging is plastic. Everything is plastic free. It's all paper and cloth. And the seed paper that we give them, that can be planted, or even if you are not a planting person, even if you just throw it away, it will eventually disintegrate much quicker than a normal paper will, because a plant will come out of it much sooner. Yeah.
God.
So that
That's a
was the thought
very
behind it.
that's a very good thought. Uh,
Hi.
I'll include this.
Joker content.
I'll include this. Okay, we can go
No.
ahead. I am going to do it.
No, I will murder you if you put anything that I'm bullshitting about.
I add this also, Manas. So
Be
anyways,
ready to do
I
that.
think that concept of gifting seed cards is a very good thing because from Make Me Garden we actually approached Rowdy brand. They usually sell out around 200 to 300 shirts, that's it. So we wanted to, give them this concept of having seed tags. So that once you purchase, you can throw and get a plant.
Yeah.
But then their office never really, responded back.
It's fun.
So we're like, fuck that. We went to other people. Now
It's
we-
also more expensive, no? Getting a seed.
I mean,
thingy,
it's
so they
not
might
going to be
put
so
that.
expensive also. Again, it's
It
like,
is. It is. Than a normal one, it is.
See, the thing is, when you buy it on a scale of 1 to 50, it may be, but when you go ahead and purchase 1,000 at a go, your
Yeah.
quantity will increase, so your cost will reduce a lot.
Yeah, with us also, our cost didn't reduce too much because we bought very
Yeah.
limited pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, anyways, you're a business, you're gonna run for a fucking year. So just buy it up so that it saves more money. It's okay. We're approaching other people, so we'll see where that goes.
It'll happen, dude, because it's important. I'm sure, like, they'll see the initiative behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, you went to Paris, right?
Yeah.
For doing a internship or a course.
I did a course there, yeah.
How was that like? How was living in Paris?
It was
Yeah.
amazing. Dude, it was amazing. Like, I had the plan to go there. So I did BIPC, right?
Mhm.
And like, uske baad, the moment that thing didn't work out, my dad gave me like a day to figure out what I want to do. And he was like, either come up with something new or whatever you're interested in, or I'll put you in long term BIPC.
Okay.
And I was like, fuck no, I'm not going to BIPC again. And I was like, okay, I'm interested in fashion and shopping. I think I can do business BBA, and then I can eventually get into something with fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the thing was that I wanted to do my master's in FIT, New York, and
Okay.
they require a lot of what do you call it, certifications and like extracurricular activities that you've gone out of your way and done something. And for me to get that, I didn't have a lot because I didn't have a lot of extracurricular activities in 11th and 12th because Sri Chaitanya. And then I was like, okay, so a good way to do this would be to go to Paris, learn something new, completely new, go and live in another country all by myself. It would be super cool. So in second year, I took the permissions and whatever, and I went there, and it was so fun, dude. We were just 10 people in a class, okay, and everybody from different backgrounds, and like it was such a diverse group. I still remember, and there were people in their 40s who owned a brand, or like our professor herself was so old, but she was so fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And she would literally treat us like her friend or whatever, and we used to go out almost every day. Like, they have such a field-based learning that we had like at least 2 to 3 field visits per week.
Okay.
And I was there for what, like 5 weeks. And yeah, so living alone also, I did a lot of dumb shit in Paris. I lost my wallet. So like I lost all my fucking money. Somebody stole it in Paris. Like, and then yeah, so you learn a lot when you're living alone. And like I lost my keys once. It was a ride. It was a roller coaster.
So what exactly did you go to Paris to learn?
Oh, I was learning luxury fashion management. So I was super into how the luxury world works, like LV, Gucci, all of those. And So I had luxury fashion management, then I had visual merchandising, and then I had just fashion business. So I had 3 modules.
Okay.
And also, I told you, right? I wanted to have my own business eventually. So this was like the perfect course for me. So I learned quite a bit, but it was all centered around the French fashion market, okay, and the European fashion market. So most of it that I learned, I realized was not applicable to India because our markets run completely differently than what their markets run.
Okay.
And then when I came back, so that's when I learned about sustainability and how to develop a sustainable fashion brand, and how to maybe, like, once you've started a fashion brand, how to scale it and all of that. And yeah, that was it. And then once I came back, I realized how and what I could apply here, and I just was looking for opportunities relating to that. That's all.
That's interesting, dude. I can only imagine, man, because I used to see your stories, right? They seem
Yeah,
fucking fun.
I did. Yeah.
Although I didn't understand what was going on, it definitely seemed fun.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was an experience. It was a learning experience. Everybody should go off and live alone for a month or a year. Everybody should do it.
I would definitely recommend that too. Definitely.
Because you learn too much. Because fairly, I have traveled a lot. With my parents, I usually travel a lot. But once I went there alone, I was fucking up literally every single thing. Like, I have done this. I have been here before. Why can't I do this on my own? I was like, so yeah,
It do be
it's an
like
experience.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now imagine, let's just say somebody wants to get started in your style of fashion. How would you recommend them to get started with? Like, what would it be? How do they start off?
With modest fashion.
Yep.
Oh, I would say that there's not a lot of brands who will cater to your style. So you really have to make it work for yourself. And you would have to really go out of your way to come up with styles and to come up with ways that you can, style yourself and still be unique. Yeah. And then I would also say that if you want to be an influencer, then you would have to be super consistent. You would have to bring out quality content. Don't just post anything random, and like have like a vibe to your page, so that it turns into a community and not just like an Instagram page. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Be very passionate about it if you actually want to do it. Yeah, that would be my 2 cents.
That was a good one. So, when you started off with this modest fashion, I'm sure you yourself didn't find it easy to grow. So, at
Yeah.
that point, you might have felt like, Arey, if somebody could have just given me one fucking tip, which is very
Yeah.
helpful, what would that be? I want that tip.
You want that tip?
Yes.
It would be to reach out to people. Like, I was very reserved. Like, I still don't work with a lot of photographers, or like I still don't go out of my comfort zone. If you're genuinely serious about this, go out of your comfort zone, reach out to brands, reach out to similar influencers. Like, I have girls nowadays that so confidently reach out to me, dude, can you help me with this? I would really like your advice on this. And I feel like, okay, I really want to help this person because she seems passionate about it. So ask for help. Seriously, nobody is snobby in this this industry. Nobody is snobby enough to like ignore you or whatever. They also like the attention. So
That's a good
so they
one.
will help you. Yeah, they will help you. And honestly, yeah, reach out to brands, be confident in yourself, and make sure you produce quality content. but don't
God.
be lazy. These are things that I should tell myself. All of these things.
I was just about to say that. How are you doing, Manas?
I'm talking to myself here.
It's alright. But yeah, that's very helpful, dude. I think whoever is watching, and I'm sure your follower base, there'll be some person who would want to get started with this kind of fashion. So
Yeah.
this tip will definitely help them out a lot.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So this was a fucking amazing conversation. I would want to end this with bringing Shop Refined again. I want you to go ahead and tell people why is it so important to focus on sustainable fashion, and why is it so important that we are repeating it twice for them to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. So basically, what I would like to tell people is that sustainability is the future, because our planet is dying, believe it or not, and we have to stop that environmental impact that we make on it every day. I understand that a lot of trendy pieces you can't find in high end or more sustainable brands. That's where thrift stores come in place, because these are pieces that people have already tried on, and these pieces have stood the test of time, and they're actually quality pieces. Okay, and they would, at least in Refined, we are sure that there's no damages to the product before selling them out. Some thrift stores do have upcycled pieces, which are also super great. Also, thrift stores are super affordable. So if you're a student or somebody just who likes fashion and wants to buy a lot but can't spend at Zara or more expensive brands, you will find amazing pieces at a very low cost. Also, it saves the planet, dude. Just do it. Just shift.
Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, just do it, boys.
And girls.
And girls, yeah. And girls. To be honest, Shop Refined doesn't have any clothes for guys, right?
Oh, we are getting it. We got a blogger.
Yeah.
An
Is that
influencer.
Dheeraj?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Also,
Dheeraj. Thank you so much. I hope you're watching this.
I hope he does too.
That's awesome. When is his line coming through?
Maybe in a week or two. Not the next launch, but the launch later than that.
That guy genuinely has good fucking fashion
Has
sense.
amazing clothes. Yeah.
He first year from the time I saw him, I knew that this fellow was good with fashion.
Yeah.
We could see it, not just on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So stay tuned to Shop Refined for more amazing information, news, and exciting new concepts coming up. Manaz will
Yes.
obviously keep you guys updated about it.
Yes, of course. Follow us, Shop Refine, Just Manaz, everywhere.
Yes, I'll drop that link in the description. You can go ahead and follow Manaz and also Shop Refined.
Yes.
So anyways, thank you so much for coming today on this podcast. Last
You're
moment,
welcome.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. You should come up with a way that YouTubers have those bye or whatever.
I
Like they always exit in a certain way.
Bye.